Stop. Let me ask you a question. What could a person working 4 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface in complete darkness and 60-degree heat possibly find? The answer is far stranger than you think, because every place I'm about to show you today is real, documented in museums, scientific journals, and university archives. I'm not going to tell you fabricated stories about a site being sealed with concrete within 72 hours, or classified documents being hidden. Instead, I'll tell you what actually happened, and I promise you this. More often than not, reality is more astonishing than fiction. 5 places, 5 different continents. Behind each one lies years of genuine scientific research. Let's begin. 1. The deepest mine in the world, Mponeng Gold Mine, South Africa. Imagine this. You are 4 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. That's roughly the same height as stacking 10 Empire State Buildings on top of one another. The surrounding rock reaches temperatures of 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity exceeds 95%. And yet, this is where you work, because beneath your feet lies one of the richest gold deposits on Earth. This is Mponeng Mine in South Africa, the deepest man-made excavation in the world. Every day, around 4,000 miners descend into it. The descent alone takes more than an hour. What began as a gold mine led to a completely different discovery in 2006. Deep within the underground water of the mine, scientists discovered an extraordinary bacterium called Desulforudis audexviator. What makes this organism remarkable isn't simply that it's unusual. It is the only known organism capable of living entirely on its own, in an ecosystem that it shares with no other known species. It needs no sunlight, no oxygen, no other living organisms. Instead, it obtains its energy from the natural radioactivity of the surrounding rock. Scientists believe this bacterium has not seen the Earth's surface for millions of years. This may sound familiar because it has become one of the primary models scientists use when searching for life on other planets. If life can survive in the deepest, darkest corners of Earth without sunlight, then perhaps something similar could also exist beneath the surface of planets like Mars. There's another fascinating fact. The extreme depth of Mponeng has also made it attractive to people known as illegal gold miners. Some of them have spent months underground, secretly extracting gold without ever seeing daylight. Journalist Matthew Hart describes this phenomenon in his book. This isn't a mystery. It's a real, scientifically documented discovery. And it demonstrates just how resilient life on Earth can truly be. 2. The first alphabet, written underground, Serabit el-Qadim, Sinai Peninsula, Egypt. The year is around 1800 BC. You are standing in the Sinai Desert, 760 meters above sea level. Before you lies an ancient Egyptian turquoise mine. You are one of the Semitic workers laboring there. To the Egyptians, you are simply known as the Asiatic. You have a spoken language, but you have no writing system. Meanwhile, the Egyptians use hieroglyphs, a writing system that requires years of training as a scribe or priest, making it completely inaccessible to ordinary workers like you. Then someone, perhaps you, perhaps one of your fellow workers, creates something revolutionary. They take a few dozen Egyptian hieroglyphic symbols, simplify them, and assign each one a single sound. The result becomes one of the first alphabetic writing systems in human history. This isn't speculation. It is a real archaeological discovery known as the Proto-Sinaitic script, first uncovered in 1904 to 1905 by the renowned archaeologist Sir Flinders Petrie. In 1916, Egyptologist Alan Gardner demonstrated that these inscriptions represented an alphabetic writing system. Nearly every alphabet we use today can trace its ancestry back to this discovery. Proto-Sinaitic to Phoenician, to Greek, to Latin, to the very letters you're reading right now. The Hebrew alphabet also descends directly from this line. The Arabic alphabet, meanwhile, developed as a parallel branch of the same Semitic language, family. In other words, every letter you're reading at this very moment ultimately traces its origins back to the hands of ordinary miners working inside an ancient Egyptian mine. But here's where the story becomes even more fascinating. This is still an active field of research. In 2025, a researcher from Ariel University, Michael Bar-Ron, used high-resolution photography and 3D scans to propose that two of these inscriptions may contain the name of Moses. The claim was published by National Geographic. However, it remains highly controversial within the academic community. Many scholars remain skeptical of this interpretation. Now, that is a genuine mystery. We know roughly when it was written. We have a good idea of who wrote it. But what some of these inscriptions actually mean is still debated to this day. 3. The underground palace carved from salt Wieliczka. Salt mine, Poland, the 13th century. Near the city of Krakow, Poland, miners begin digging beneath the Earth's surface. What starts as a mining operation will continue for more than 700 years, eventually creating over 300 kilometers of tunnels and more than 2,000 chambers. Its deepest point reaches 300 to 27 meters below ground. This is the Wieliczka salt mine, and it's far more than just a mine. For centuries, the miners spent their free time transforming the salt itself into works of art. They carved statues, chapels, and even crystal chandeliers from solid rock salt. The most famous of them all is the St. Kinga Chapel. Its walls, floor, altars, even its crosses, have all been carved entirely from salt. It is one of the most extraordinary underground churches in Europe. This place doesn't need stories about sealed, secret chambers to capture people's imagination. Its real history is already unbelievable. Around 6,000 years ago, during the Neolithic period, people living in this area produced salt by boiling naturally occurring brine in clay vessels. Then, in the 13th century, while digging wells, miners struck massive deposits of solid rock salt. That discovery marked the beginning of the mine itself. To the kings of Poland, salt was known as white gold. During the reign of King Casimir III, revenue from the mine accounted for nearly 1/3 of the royal treasury. That wealth helped finance many important projects, including the founding of Krakow Akademii, Poland's first university. In 1978, Wieliczka became one of the first 12 sites ever inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Commercial salt extraction officially ended in 1996, largely because of flood risks and declining profitability. Yet hundreds of miners still work underground today, not to extract salt, but to preserve this extraordinary historical monument. There's another little-known chapter in its history. During World War II, the Nazis planned to convert part of the mine into a secret factory for manufacturing aircraft components. Before the project could be completed, however, the advancing Soviet army forced the Germans to abandon the site and evacuate the equipment. This underground world, created by human hands over 7 centuries, this needs no mystery. Reality alone is astonishing enough. 4. Herodotus' story that everyone thought was a myth. The Osiris Shaft, Giza, Egypt. The year is 450 BC. The Greek historian Herodotus travels to Egypt. While visiting the Giza Plateau near the pyramids, local guides tell him a strange story. Beneath the bedrock, they say, lies an artificial lake. At the center of that lake is an island, and on that island rests the tomb of a pharaoh. Herodotus records the story, but he never actually sees the place himself. For the next 2,400 years, historians dismiss the account as nothing more than a legend. Then, in 1933 to 1934, Egyptian archaeologist Salim Hassan discovers a vertical shaft beneath the causeway of the Pyramid of Khafra. He descends into it, but the lower levels are completely flooded. Unable to drain the water, he cannot fully investigate the site. The mystery remains unsolved. More than 60 years later, in 1999, renowned Egyptologist Zahi Hawass returns with a research team. This time they bring powerful pumps. After removing the water, they finally reach the bottom. What they discover is astonishing. A 3-level underground complex descending nearly 30 meters, ending in a chamber containing enormous basalt sarcophagi. Hawass names the site the Osiris Shaft, interpreting it as a symbolic burial complex dedicated to Osiris, the ruler of the underworld in ancient Egyptian mythology. At the deepest level, archaeologists recover red-painted pottery dating to Egypt's 6th dynasty, circa 2345 to 2181 BC. This provides the earliest confirmed date for the complex. But here's where the real mystery begins. No one fully understands how it was constructed. Excavating shafts this deep, with such remarkable precision, using only bronze tools would have been an extraordinary engineering challenge. Iron tools did not become common in this region until centuries later, around the 8th century BC. Even today, many researchers, including Hawass himself, acknowledge that the construction techniques have not yet been completely explained. This isn't the kind of sensational mystery filled with hidden conspiracies. It's something far more interesting. A genuine archaeological question that remains unanswered. How did the ancient Egyptians excavate structures of this depth and precision, using the technology available to them? In 2017, the Osiris Shaft was opened to the public. Today, anyone who obtains permission and purchases a ticket can descend into the site and see it with their own eyes. 5. The mine that saved democracy. Laurian Mines, Greece. The year is 483 BC. About 50 kilometers south of Athens, a rich vein of silver is discovered in a place called Laurian. Under normal circumstances, the profits would have been distributed among the citizens. But the Athenian statesman Themistocles proposes something different. Instead of dividing the wealth, he urges the people to spend it on building 200 warships. The citizens agree. 1 year later, in 480 BC, the Persian king Xerxes invades Greece with one of the largest armies the ancient world had ever seen. The Greek fleet confronts the Persians in the narrow waters of the Battle of Salamis. Against all odds, the Greeks win. Had they lost that battle, the course of Western civilization might have been entirely different. This isn't a legend. It is one of the best documented events of the ancient world. Archaeological evidence shows that the Laurian mines had already been exploited since the Bronze Age, around 3200 BC. However, their large-scale development began during the rule of the Athenian tyrant Pisistratos in the 6th century BC. Archaeologists have identified nearly 700 ancient mine shafts and approximately 200 ore processing facilities. The silver extracted by slave labor was minted into Athens' famous owl tetradrachm, one of the most trusted and influential currencies of the ancient world. Following the victory at Salamis, this silver financed what historians now call the Golden Age of Athens, the rise of democracy, the construction of the Parthenon, and the flourishing of classical Greek culture. How do scientists know all this? Because silver carries an isotopic signature. Every mine produces silver with its own unique chemical composition. Mass spectrometry analyses conducted by the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, NESTIT, have shown that Athenian coins were made almost exclusively from silver mined at Laurion. By the 1st century BC, the deposits had been exhausted and the mines were abandoned. Then, nearly 1,900 years later, in 1860, French and Greek companies returned, not to mine fresh ore, but to reprocess the enormous piles of ancient mining waste, extracting additional lead and zinc. That operation continued until 1978. This isn't a mystery, it's simply history itself. Sometimes the metal pulled from beneath the earth can change the destiny of an entire civilization. Conclusion: 5 places, each located on a different continent, each belonging to a different era. Mponeng, the deepest place on Earth where life has shown just how resilient it can be. Serabit el Kadim, the copper mine where one of the world's first alphabets was born. Wieliczka, a breathtaking underground world carved from salt over the course of 7 centuries. The Osiris Shaft, the place where a story dismissed as fiction for 2,400 years turned out to be true. Lorient, the silver mine that helped shape the future of an entire civilization. Behind every one of these places stand real archaeologists, real scientific journals, real historical records. In the next episode, you'll discover 5 more extraordinary underground locations. Among them is a mystery that no one has been able to solve to this day. Don't forget to watch part 2.